Once upon a time, there was a small town in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by dense forests and a desolate road that led out of the town. It was said that the road was haunted, and only the bravest and most foolish individuals dared to venture down it after nightfall. The locals whispered that the road was home to a skinwalker, a creature from native folklore that had the ability to transform into any animal it desired. Legend had it that the Skinwalker had been conjured by a group of settlers who had made a deal with dark forces in exchange for wealth and power. The road was avoided by most of the town's residents, and those who did have to use it during the day would often do so in large groups to ward off any potential danger. However, there were a few brave souls who would dare to venture down the haunted road after dark, driven by a mix of curiosity and a desire to prove their courage. I was one of those brave souls. I had always been fascinated by the supernatural and spent many nights reading ghost stories and watching horror movies. I had heard the rumors about the haunted road and the Skinwalker, and I couldn't resist the temptation to see if they were true. One night, I gathered my courage and set out to explore the haunted road. I drove down the deserted highway, my headlights illuminating the eerie trees that lined the road. As I reached the midpoint of the road, I suddenly felt a chill run down my spine. I could feel eyes on me, watching my every move. I tried to shrug off the feeling and continued driving, but then I heard something that made my heart race. It was the sound of twigs snapping and leaves rustling, as if something was following me. Panic began to set in, and I hit the accelerator, trying to outrun whatever was pursuing me. However, the faster I drove, the closer the sounds behind me became. I glanced in my rearview mirror and saw a figure in the distance, moving impossibly fast toward me. I knew that I was being hunted by the Skinwalker, and I tried to think of a way to escape. I remembered reading that Skinwalkers were vulnerable to silver, so I rummaged through my glove compartment until I found a silver necklace that I had been given as a gift. With the silver necklace in hand, I pulled over to the side of the road and got out of my car. I could hear the Skinwalker getting closer and closer, and I knew that I had to act fast. I held out the necklace, hoping that it would be enough to protect me. Suddenly, the Skinwalker appeared before me, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. I held out the silver necklace, and the creature recoiled, letting out a blood-curdling scream. I watched as the Skinwalker transformed into a black wolf and ran off into the darkness. Trembling with fear and relief, I got back into my car and drove back to town. From that night on, I never ventured down the haunted road again. But I knew that the Skinwalker was still out there, lurking in the shadows and waiting for its next victim. I'm Jake, 25, and I live alone in a pretty big house near the forest. My grandma would always tell me stories about skinwalkers when I was young, but I thought she just wanted to scare me. I should have taken her seriously. It all started 2 months ago, when I looked outside and saw a fox screaming in pain in my backyard. I closed the window and called 911. About 30 minutes later, the animal patrol arrived, but they didn't find anything. I told them I must have been still half asleep, and that was why I saw it. I knew it was real. First, it wasn't much except loud footsteps and screams, but it turned worse in the past 5 days. I went away for the weekend so I can rest a bit. When I got home, it was there, watching me from the woods. I called my neighbor and told him what I saw. Surprisingly, he believed me and told me that he is coming over. I met him in front of my house and showed him exactly where it was. He loaded his shotgun and we got into the house to get some food and water. I went to the kitchen and packed the things we needed. When I got to the door, he disappeared. I felt something was wrong. I looked outside and there he was, eyes missing and cuts all over his body. I quickly grabbed his shotgun and turned around. It was there, without its disguise. It was much taller than me, red eyes and deformed bones. It was smiling at me before I pulled the trigger. It screamed in pain and ran away. I called the police and told them exactly what happened. I locked my doors and windows and hid in the corner of my bedroom. About 6 minutes later, I heard it tapping on my window. I ignored it at first, but it became louder. It knew I was there. It's been an hour now. The tapping became more aggressive. I didn't hear anything other than that noise in the past hour. It's been 2 hours and the tapping stopped. Instead, I hear footsteps coming from downstairs. I thought I'm going to die. The police arrived and they shot that creature. I am currently looking for someone who wants to buy the house.